Hi, I'm Catherine,
I'm Teresa.
and we are the co-authors of the book Pass the Baton, Empowering All Music Students.
Our goal is to share stories of educators who are passing the baton and empowering their music students. We want to help teachers create music lessons that transform students from passive consumers to vibrant creatives.
All right, welcome. Well, today we have the pleasure of being with Abigail Blair. She is a great friend of mine and actually a coworker. So thank you for being with us today, Abby.
Thank you. I'm very excited and honored that you guys asked me to have this conversation.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about your background and your current teaching situation?
Sure. So I got my master's at Boston University, bachelor's at Augustana College, and I've been teaching about 17 years now. I teach in the Chicago suburbs, and I've been lucky to be at the same school for 16 of those years, so it's been really great to kind of plant my roots there. And I teach pre-K through fifth grade general music. Absolutely love it. So pretty happy there.
Yeah, and it's nice that I get to be on a team with you, a district team, district music team. And so, one thing that you have shared with our group is this idea of creating some games for kids to engage with on all different kinds of subject areas. So, can you share with us how you got started with creating these games and what kind of games you've created?
Sure. So I've got I'll list them in a little bit, I guess. But basically, where it came from was I noticed my kids weren't able to talk about music very intelligently, despite all of the things that I was teaching them and the vocab they had. They would still hear a song from a different country and say that's weird. And okay, but it's not. It's you don't understand it and you don't know how to talk about it. If they would hear a new style of jazz, that's weird. I don't like it. Well, no. Let's talk about it. Maybe that's your instinct, but let's talk about why. Why is that? I wanted them to really think deeper about what they were hearing and to be those critical consumers of music and be able to talk about it. I love to go to shows and I go with my friends and we talk about the show. I may not even like it, but I can say that this was really well done in this musical production. The costumes were amazing. They serve a purpose. Maybe this person was miscast. We can talk about it intelligently and really nail down what we love and don't love. And I really wanted my students to be able to do that so they could really sort through all of the things that they're hearing in their life and really understand maybe I don't like this, but why is that? What is it that is rubbing wrong? Or why do I like this music? How can I understand this music from another culture and have appreciation for it? So that's really where it came from. And then from there, I think the first one I made was called Jazz Idol because I just wanted the kids talking about jazz musicians. They're great. And we just needed to spend time listening to them and knowing their names and hearing their stories because kids really do connect to a lot of those artists. And I didn't know how to do that. And throwing information didn't seem to work, especially with the younger ones. So we created Jazz Idol. So they are the judges. And it's just like American Idol, follows the exact same format. And they audition all of these different jazz musicians. They vote for them. They allow them to continue on or not. And they're all great musicians, so I don't even care who wins. But the process is they first listen to it, and then they get to learn facts about their lives and start to connect with them in the next round. And then the ones who continue will watch like YouTube videos of performances. We'll read, there's so many great children's books. That's a time where we'll bring out those children's books, get to know them better. And after about 4 weeks of this, we do it just part of, like I see them 2 times a week. We'll do one class where we devote to this. So we're still making music, the other classes. But they just love it. I had one little girl who started wearing flowers in her hair like Billie Holiday because she loved the story of that. And they're going home and asking their parents, can we go to the library and check out Louis Armstrong CDs and music? And can we look them up on YouTube? And it was just amazing to see how they were connecting with these artists, and they just needed time and the right environment to do so. So since then, I've kind of branched out too in other genres. Classical music is near and dear to my heart, but I have a hard time getting kids hooked on these composers too. All they want to know is, when did they die? What did they die of? So we made a game called Dead or Alive, the Composer Challenge, and we have a team of dead composers and a team of alive composers because they're just sort of morbidly curious about all of that. And so we listen, and same kind of format. We get to know them more and more. We get to know their personal lives, and they kind of vote down favorite dead composer and alive composer. And then we have this finale, who wins. And John Williams wins every year. Sorry, Mozart. He must be Mozart. After that, we kind of branched out to world music. So I've got World's Got Talent, again, stealing a structure from a TV show that kids know. But we travel the world and we find representatives from each continent. And then we have Battle of the Bands, where it's a rock and roll unit that I'm doing right now in 5th grade, and they just love it. So we study rock anthems, ballads, style, rock style, and they award points, and whatever band comes out with the most points wins. We have the Joey Awards, which is in our Full Steam Ahead book too, which is musical theater and STEAM, where kids become like the academy. So they are, once again, they're kind of in the judges. They're the ones looking critically at this, but they have to understand light design, costume design. So they do a little bit of it first, study the masters, and then we have a little awards show like the Tonys or the Oscars. And then my newest one is Instrument Family Feud, which is just what it sounds like. But all the questions are about classifications of how instruments are made, metals, skins, wood, what sounds they make, what sounds like a crash, and they have to guess the answers. And I don't care about the points or any of that. They do. That's the buy-in. But they are practicing thinking about, what does that instrument sound like? How are instruments classified together and played? And so that's the latest one. So trying to have at least one of these units for every grade level that I teach. So we have something to look forward to, and sort of that break in the spring too, when we need to try some other things and turn them loose. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
just thinking about it like gets me excited. So how would you say that this has changed the learner experience in your classroom? What's changed?
Well, I think the biggest thing is sort of how I mentioned before. They're able to talk about music, For World's Got Talent and the Joeys, we talk about what criteria are we looking for as judges, and that is one of the national standards that's out there too, is setting criteria. And the connecting and the responding standards are all about practicing this. And we have the time to do that now. And so they're able to say, I enjoy this music from, Europe. I enjoyed that musician or that ensemble, but I don't think they match the criteria because I wanted to have this. I was looking for this and I was looking for this. So I didn't vote for them, but I do have respect for these other things that they had. And they're able to talk with each other about what matters when you're listening to music. And it's not that gut reaction of, I like it or I don't like it. It's thinking critically, like, what is the intent behind this music? Where is it coming from? It's coming from their culture. That's cool. I like that. I'm noticing that all around the world, that people have music from their cultures. It's a part of who they are. And so that's been really rewarding to see them talk critically about music and be able to make better decisions than I like it or I don't.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. So that's so cool, Abby. And again, being on your team, like I've tried it in my classroom, and the kids, the engagement is through the roof. They love it. And it's so awesome to hear them talking about music, more than just, that's weird. Right. And yeah. I think it's great. Like there's just habits of like, when you ask them to turn and talk, like they learn really quickly how to do that and do it so well. It's like, I'll like, now that we've done it so often, it's like, okay, and they're already on test talking. Right. Can't wait to get it out. Like it really helps them just, talk intelligently about about music.
Right.
It's awesome.
And they want to talk about music and they need to talk in class, you know. So I save a lot of these for the spring when they're talkative. And then
Sure.
they're just kind of done sitting. It's nice outside and we want to be outside. It's been a long year. And so now they have the chance to talk and then they're just completely tuned in when we need to listen, but they know there's talk time, but they have something to talk about with some purpose.
Mhm.
So they're using their talking for good.
Yeah. If somebody else wanted to get started, what would your, like, how would you help somebody else try this or start this if they were interested?
Yeah, I would say first pick what kind of genre or what part of music that you want the kids to be talking about, something that they can connect to. Really, it could be anything. And then I would say pick the genre and then find some sort of hook. Like I love to do videos and things like that, and I make it a little bit flashy, yes. But I do that because as soon as that song plays or they see that image, they know exactly we are doing this. Everything comes back, that criteria we talked to. It's just like a little, I mean, it's really branding. Like you see branding all around us, and you know, oh, that's what that symbol is. Now I know what this is all about. I do the same thing with the hook, just a little sound or an image to get them back to where they need to be to have these conversations. But then I borrow like game structures from, I'm not going to reinvent one. I'm not good at that. So I'll just look at, well, what TV shows do we all like? What are the kids watching? What are they familiar with? And so I just borrow those like reality TV structures and then just obviously tweak it as needed. But then the last thing, I always try to make sure that there's an element of discovery in there, that I'm not just giving information. So, like, as far as criteria for World's Got Talent, we say, what would a good ensemble look like and sound like? And they list the criteria that we then match each ensemble with. So they are discovering the entire time. My first graders, we were doing Jazz Idol just yesterday, and I asked them true or false questions about all of these jazz musicians. They don't have a clue, but they're going to take a guess. So it's practicing taking risks too. There's always needs to be that element of discovery. So I have to double check, is this just a fun, flashy game? Or am I letting the kids have something to discover and kind of take control of their own learning in this too? I always have them as the judges as well. I never have student groups against student groups because when you're being creative, you're taking risks, you're thinking critically like this. We don't need an element of competition against each other. So
Right.
that's one thing that's always on my checklist too. Is this group versus group or no? This should be a uniting thing. I will never have students compete against other students for something like this in a game. So yeah, to kind of summarize that, come up with a genre, come up with a little hook to kind of bring them back every time you do it, and then a game show structure and some level of discovery for your students. And I think you just plug it in then and you've got a game that you can do.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. And we talked about it a little bit before we started recording, that discovery and how important that is in empowering the students. So you're not just playing a flashy game that they're going to keep, either clicking through or just rushing through, but yet they are actively learning and actively working through these musical concepts. And that's so valuable.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
you said, you don't care who wins, because they're manipulating and going through and discovering, and, the content is there. So they're going to uncover it and learn it. And then they pick their favorite, like it doesn't really matter who wins.
They feel like it sure does, though. They get so excited for the winner to be revealed. It's huge, and the whole class erupts, yay! And I just remind them, like, if your musician didn't win or your choice didn't win, remember they were all so great they made the finals. They're all great. It doesn't matter. But we've been able to practice critical just thinking and discussion and getting to know all of these genres and musicians that otherwise you may never really encounter on your own. So, so everybody wins.
Right. Well, and like you said, a poster and like, this is so and so, and right, like no one wants to that's hard to take away from, instead of they get to get hands on and manipulate. And did you know? And I learned this composer, right? It's just flipping it is so powerful.
Yeah. I think music history especially works well with this because, as we know, it's not just facts. When you understand the composers and where they were at and the timeline of everything, and with politics and everything going on in their lives, it makes their music and their message so much more important. So I think it's the same with this. Kids need to learn it in context, and games like this can kind of provide that environment, that structure for them. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. All right. So to kind of pivot a little bit. So this school year has been very unusual for all of us as music teachers. Is there anything that you tried this year or you did differently this year that you're going to continue doing in future years?
Yes, boy, it has been an interesting year. And I think that my biggest takeaway from having to, redesign my entire job twice in the last year. I would say I learned to slow things down. I learned to offer things in smaller bites to the kids. Rather than rushing through a unit and trying to get to that end product. This year, we just had to just sit in that lesson a little bit. It gave us the chance to explore more. It gave them the chance to create more, because I needed to give them multiple opportunities to learn a concept. We just slowed everything down and spent so much more time playing games, practicing, doing activities that led them to the final goal. And I think I learned to really slow down this year, and that's something that I need to keep. Yeah, that's probably my biggest takeaway from the year. Is just slow down. There's no need to rush. They will soak it in so much deeper if we give them that time to explore and create and just to practice and play with music. Always play with music. That's what we do. We play music. Right. So,
and it should be fun.
Yeah. It should always be fun. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't need to be an endless to-do list. That's not what music is. That's not why we are in it.
Yeah, I think that's such good advice and good words. Yeah. Good.
Yep. So if people want to connect with you, Abby, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Great. Would love that. I love networking as much as possible. On Twitter, I am Abigail S. Blair. And I've got Instagram too with my school, where you can really see I like to showcase a lot of the student work and what games we're doing with short explanations. So that's at Music Westmore. And then I have a website, buildingmusicalminds.com, which is sort of home of beat blocks and other things that I've done. And it's getting revamped to be a little more inclusive of all the different work that I'm doing. And also, Catherine, you said we have a mutual website too, where we've collected a lot of our tech ideas and STEAM ideas. And on that website too, there are some freebies. If you guys would love to go there, you're welcome to. We have like a little template and some background on Jazz Idol, if that's a unit somebody would like to get started and try and figure out, and also World's Got Talent. So I think we can link that in the description. Yes?
Yep. Yeah.
Definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that way. So yes, please.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time this morning and sharing all of your awesome ideas. I know I'm already kind of having the wheels spin, thinking about things that I might do for this spring to just give the kids more opportunities to learn and really get excited about it. So we appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's great to see you both.
Yes. All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe below.
And follow us on social media. I'm at Musical Teresa.
I'm Singing Finch 1.
And you can follow the hashtag Pass the Baton Book.